So we're so focused on plaques and protein tangles that we're actually ignoring the real cause or the root cause, which is so what if dementia doesn't start in the brain, but actually in the bloodstream? What if it isn't just aging or bad luck, but a consequence of decades of blood sugar spikes, insulin resistance, and metabolic abuse? Because the research is clear. What you eat today affects how your brain works 20 years from now. And that means dementia doesn't just start in your 70s, it actually starts in your kitchen. So, welcome everybody to the Obesity Project. This is episode 91, Why Dementia Might Start in the Kitchen. And my name is Dr. Mark Shankman. I'm an oral and maxillofacial surgeon that is interested in more than just helping your mouth or your oral cavity, but your entire body. And I mentioned yesterday, I did just get full acceptance into a master's program in human nutrition and functional medicine. So I'm really excited to start this journey and really put some muscle behind these videos. So let's go ahead and dive right in. So first, we're going to talk about the blood sugar brain connection. So your brain uses more energy than any other organ in your body, but it's also sensitive to dysfunction, especially from glucose and from insulin. So there were a couple studies that I want to just highlight. In Diabetologia 2015, higher postprandial glucose levels are associated with faster cognitive decline, even in non-diabetics. And postprandial glucose levels are glucose in your blood after you've eaten. So these are associated with faster cognitive decline or loss of your ability to think straight. And as I mentioned, this is in non-diabetics. Neurology 2016 showed that insulin resistance in midlife predicts a 70% increase of risk in developing Alzheimer's later. So here's an analogy for you. Feeding your brain processed carbs all day long is like filling a Ferrari with corn syrup. Eventually, the engine's going to stall, and then it's going to fail. So the first thing we're going to talk about are blood sugar spikes equaling brain inflammation. So each spike causes oxidative stress. And we also see inflammatory cytokines or chemical mediators that disrupt memory centers like the hippocampus. In the Journal of Neuroinflammation in 2019, they demonstrated chronic hyperglycemia or elevated blood sugar activates microglia and accelerates neurodegeneration. Microglia are these cells around the neurons that speed the nerve impulse going down the nerve. And neurodegeneration is the breakdown of the nerves or the nerve lining. So the second thing that we see is insulin resistance equals neuron starvation. So the brain becomes less able to use glucose for energy. This mimics what we see in Alzheimer's in a starving brain. And in JAMA Neurology in 2017, elevated fasting insulin correlates with poor executive function and smaller brain volumes. And then finally, the third thing that we see is glycation equaling sticky protein plaques. So excess glucose binds to proteins. This creates AGEs, which are advanced glycation end products. So the glucose binds to these proteins and basically kind of gums them up, which creates damage to the neurons and promotes amyloid buildup, which is those plaques that we see on the brains of people with Alzheimer's or depression, or dementia, not depression. Mostly seen in Alzheimer's, but you can also see this in depression. And I keep saying that, in dementia as well. All right. And then in Aging Cell in 2020, high AGE levels were found in Alzheimer's brains and were linked to dietary sugar intake. So we know that the carbs are the direct link and the cause of most of the problems. Okay, so now we're going to talk about why food is the front line of prevention. So this isn't about supplements. We're not suggesting you take supplements. This is about signaling and every time you eat. So foods that accelerate brain breakdown are things like refined grains, such as bread, pasta, cereal, sugar sweetened beverages, and seed oils in ultra processed foods or snacks. Foods that protect and repair are things like omega-3 fatty acids, so fatty fish, grass-fed beef or meats, um, pasteurized eggs and organ meats, olive oil, leafy greens, cruciferous vegetables, and yes, low carb, keto, or carnivore diets are protective. There were a couple studies I wanted to highlight as well on this subject. In Nutrients in 2022, low carb diets reduced insulin and inflammation, improving memory and cognitive function in older adults. And then in Frontiers in Aging Neuroscience in 2020, ketogenic diets may slow or actually even reverse mild cognitive impairment by improving brain metabolism. Okay, so this has been episode 91 of the Obesity Project, Why Dementia Might Start in the Kitchen. And here are my final thoughts. So we're so focused on plaques and protein tangles that we're actually ignoring the real cause or the root cause, which is a lifetime of metabolic abuse. Things like glucose spikes, inflammatory foods, constant insulin bombardment. You don't have to wait until memory fades. You can act now at the fork because the first symptoms of dementia isn't forgetting your own name. It's what you forgot. You ate 10,000 times before that. So don't forget, here on the Obesity Project, we're cutting through the myths and getting to the root. So make sure to stay tuned for episode 92, The Alzheimer's Gene is Not Your Destiny. We'll break down how lifestyle trumps genetics and how to silence ApoE4 with food, not fear. So stay tuned for that. Make sure to hit subscribe, hit that bell notification so you get these videos when they are released. Make sure to like, share, and comment. And as always, I appreciate your time. I appreciate your attention. And I'll see you in the next video.